Okay. All right. So we get ready to do some of our repeats. Trigger words. Oh, yes. Trigger words. And that old, you didn't take up for me. So, yeah, we're going to tap into all of those things. Oh, it's deja vu. Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. I appreciate it. Listen, this is my review for Real Housewives of Atlanta. This is season 15, episode 2. I know you could hear it in my voice. I'm having some problems. I got a little old nasty piece of head cold. So this is why I'm not on screen with you all. You know, I'm usually on screen. But listen, we're gonna power through this. It is what it is, and then we'll be back on screen like we usually are. But I couldn't leave this out and not say what I had to say about this old episode here. We got a whole lot of old repeat performances, trigger words, and some of that you ain't take up for me. Well, what did you say when they was talking about me? And all that, they ain't said nothing. You already knew that before you asked Kandi. Before you asked Sonia what she did and what she said when they was talking about you, you knew the answer. You know Sonia ain't did nothing. She's a runner. She's a track star. She ain't said nothing. She keyed. She keyed. But at least she didn't become a part of the amen section because she's been known to do that too. She's been known to do that too. No biggie. That's just Sonya, child. Not even malicious. That's just Sonya. Um, this whole thing at this party of how things popped off between uh, Kenya and Martel, it just really was a whole big mess. A big mess. And his comment, they went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And his comment, I don't give up if I tried to you. And that was all Kenya needed. That was all she needed. Now, should Martel be talking to Kenya like that? No. No. Because the truth of the matter is, y'all are sitting around playing semantics. Who cares about all that? Sheree and Kenya are in the same friend group. At some point, Martel, you tried to talk to Kenya. She curbed you, but you tried to talk to her. You're a bit narcissistic, and your feelings was probably a little bit hurt that she curbed you anyway, and it was pretty much a how dare she, you know? And then the nerve of her to bring it up in this arena, and now you got to answer to it. And you got your feelings a little bit, and then y'all start going back and forth. And then Kenya, you take that position that you take, and you even said it yourself later on in the program. Girl, no, ain't no man supposed to be screaming and yelling at you. Ain't no man supposed to be aggressive with you. But at the same time, you're not supposed to be standing in a man's face screaming and yelling with him and acting as though you can stand toe to toe with him and give him fever. So both of you all were wrong. Both of you all were wrong. And then the thing is, Kenya, you really were more of the aggressor because, well, yeah, you were more of the aggressor. He was animated and doing a little too much, but he wasn't really being aggressive at first. He was being funny. He was clowning you, but it was light clowning. You became aggressive. You became aggressive with the whole getting in his face. And later on in the program, when you and Sheree got together to talk about it, You, Sheree asked you. She said, "I'm gonna talk to him, because no, he shouldn't talk to you like that. No, he shouldn't say things." And I got that when she said him saying, because he had said, check her DMs. She probably answered all of them. Check them. She answered all her messages, and she said he was insinuating that I was a hoe. I said, when you put it like that, Kenya, yeah, that's exactly what he was doing. That's exactly what he was doing. So yes, out of order, out of order. But then when Sheree said, but Kenya, do you think that gives you the right to go get in his face? And Kenya, you paused, and then you said yes. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. You have no business getting in his face. And you did come all the way across out of the area, because he left the area. You came out of the area to come and get it going on with him. And then the stuff that you were, you were escalating it. Y'all were both wrong. In my opinion, they were both wrong. They both were wrong. They were screaming and yelling like some high school girls. And child just is what it is. But again, Kenya knew that about Martel when she started it. She knew. She knew. She knew that she could get an argument with him, and he bought the bait. So really, really pathetic. Really pathetic. But I mean, welcome. Welcome to Real Housewives of Atlanta. Kandi felt as though Sonia should have given her a heads up. She did. Um, uh, yeah, she could have. Because later on in the program, when we found out that Sonia and Kandi been kind of like hanging out, and they pulled their families together and went to Disney and stuff, they've actually gotten closer. Once they actually put that out there, yeah, Sonia, you could have given Kandi a heads up. You could have. You could have. But now I wasn't surprised at Sonia Kiki and the laughing when Courtney um, insinuated that Kandi was ghetto and her crowd was ghetto. That's just Sonya. That's just Sonya. So um, Kandi pointed that out when they had their little sit down after the party and that. And knowing Kandi the way we know Kandi, that ain't the last you're gonna hear of it. You're gonna pay for that. You are going to pay for that. Yes, you are. Yeah, because that's what Courtney had said that basically there's a place that they actually go, and Kandi had announced the place, and the following week the crowd was just ghetto. In essence, she was giving that Kandi brings a ghetto crowd to things, which in turn would say Kandi's ghetto and her crowd is ghetto. Her followers are ghetto. It wasn't nice. It wasn't nice. And Kandi did just ask her flat out, "Well, Sonya, what'd you say when she was calling me ghetto?" Sonya was trying to explain it away, child. I said, "Oop." And when Kandi said, "These fake classy bitches kills me," I was like, yeah, Sonya. She was talking about you too. Said you hanging out with Sheree and Marlo. She said, yeah, she's hanging with Sheree and Marlo. I should have known better. Yes, you should have. Yes, you should have. Ain't no need to get too bad about it. It is what it is. She not. That's not who she is. Let's see what else. What else went down? Ralph and Drew. So Drew was back in this episode, and she released a single. Um, you know what? The single we ended up hearing a piece of it. It's called "Already Know." It's a nice song. It really is. It's a nice little ditty, and it got a nice smooth groove to it. And Drew sounds really good, and this thing and the other. But I'm sitting there the whole time watching, and I'm saying, "Why are you setting yourself up, Drew? Why are you setting yourself up? Why are you entering into any type of an endeavor that could go forth and possibly make you money that you'll continue to get money on down the road with Ralph?" Why? But then it's like, oh yeah, we used to do some music together and all this stuff. Girl, he's hitching his wagon to you. Even when everything's over, said and done, that song, y'all gonna end up with a split sheet, girl. He's going to continue. If that song ever do anything, he's gonna make money off of you. Honey, Ralph don't like you like that. And I don't believe you like Ralph like that, but you just making moves. I don't know. That girl plays. This ain't the time to hit yourself in your wagon to no Ralph at all. Um, we got more information about Drew and where she was. Her dad is suffering with some early Alzheimer's, and he is actually in a home. So that's actually where she was. So that was really, really sad. That's a whole lot. That's a whole lot to deal with on a family. Whole lot to deal with. Speaking of a whole lot on the family, let me tiptoe over here to Blaze. Blaze, that's Candy's other restaurant, Kandi and Todd's other restaurant. And Katie was saying how like they danced around this one part, like they were dancing, said, the area has changed after the pandemic, that kind of thing. Then you got some shade from Sheree. Sheree said, child, listen. We don't know when we go to Candy's restaurants, baby. We don't know if we're going to get biscuits or bullets, honey. I said, oh, a shady. And because I had almost forgot about this, that Candy's godson, her cousin, actually got shot over at Blaze. So Kandi kind of danced into it and grazed over it because there's still some legal stuff that was going on about it. And she didn't know we actually, the wall got broken a little bit in this scene. One of the producers was saying about what were they going to talk about or what could they talk about, about the shooting because there's still some legal stuff out there. There was an employee that ended up getting into an altercation, came to work, child giving postal teas, and literally shot Candy's godson on site, on the restaurant site, at the restaurant and everything. So when we say that the neighborhood has changed, yeah, neighborhood change, girl, you part of the change, honey, is what is kind of coming out. Like, and I'm like, no, what? That's the last thing they want is their place to be considered a nuisance bar. It's such a nice place, a nice looking place. But yeah, so that's that whole thing going on. Sheree was just being a hater. Yeah, but very, very unfortunate for the restaurant, very unfortunate for Kandi and Todd, to have to even deal with that kind of thing. Moving on, moving on, moving on, moving on. Akila. Akila is a friend of Kenya's. We see her. She is a football player's wife. Um, and their daughters have a friendship which have actually led them into a friendship. So it's just nice to see Kenya actually having a girlfriend that she could actually talk with because we're sick of talking to you about Mark. So go talk to Akila. We don't need to hear no more of it. Moving right along. Sonia and Sheree got together. We found out that Sheree has a grandbaby, a baby girl. She's 6 months. She's real cute. This the thing, and I guess what she said, Cairo. So I think that's her son Cairo's baby. I said, oh, okay. Um, all right. Yeah. And then they had that little conversation about Kenya and her trigger words. Remember when she called Ross aggressive last season? This is where we're going. And Sonya was not here for this at all. At all. But yeah, when Kenya ended up later on having that conversation with Sheree, I said, yeah, you doing it, girl. You playing it up, and you are using trigger words. She called him abusive. She kept throwing Bob into it in the past of Bob and how Bob treated Sheree. And you know what? As a friend, it's pretty shady to keep throwing that part up in her face about her abusive past with her ex-husband of years ago. I didn't like that. I was like, Kenya, stop doing that. Stop doing that. because one thing they don't do, nobody, even the ones that don't really care for you too much, they don't throw Mark into your face. They don't. They don't be throwing Mark into your face. You be throwing Mark into our face. But you've done that like maybe 3 times in 2 episodes. You've thrown the relationship with Bob into Sheree's face. I'm like, wow, that's kind of curt. But yeah, I was like, that's kind of deep. Kind of deep. Um, yeah, but yeah, it's starting to kind of look. It looks like a narrative. It does. It looks like a narrative, and I don't know that Kenya even knows that she's doing it. So I'm just going to say that I don't think that she's building a narrative against black men on purpose, but it very much comes across that way. As soon as something happens and a black man doesn't do things the way you want it to do, then you start using words like abusive, aggressive, and you're always the victim. But as we see, you are a bit aggressive yourself, Miss Moore. So, again, I don't think that she's trying to destroy black men as a whole. So I won't say that, but it's becoming a little bit of a pattern with you, and that's not too good looking. Last thing I'm gonna say before I get up out of here, I told y'all I'm having a hard time with this voice box, but I couldn't just not talk to y'all. Couldn't do it. I had too much to say. Okay, so listen to this before I leave. When Drew and Ralph sat down with the engineer, who happens to be a producer as well. Okay. And he was asking, well, how do you want, because that's what she wants to do. She wants to do an EP. And like I said, I don't think it's a good idea to deal with Ralph. He asked her, what's the direction that you wanted to go? She said, oh, I have so much I want to say. And it's really going to be, my EP is really about the woes and some of the ups and the downs of marriage. I said, girl, it is that right there that is going to break your marriage up. And on that, listen, I will see you all on the screen next week. All right, talk to y'all later. We can talk more in the comments where I can keep my mouth shut and just use my fingers. I will talk to y'all in these comments until I see you again on screen. All right, y'all. Love y'all. Talk to y'all soon. Bye.